Hit it.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, my friend. Yes, welcome to Do Not Talk, talking about two things you're never supposed to talk about, politics and religion. One decides what life is going to be like here on Earth. The other one decides what it's going to be like when you leave it. Makes it kind of important. You can support this show through CharLeeSimons.com, my new fancy dancy website. And even financially, if you could help, that'd be extraordinary because I need to invest in another computer, a better one. So CharLeeSimons.com, CharLeeSimons.com. And I thank you so much for your attention and your time sharing these shows. You help us break down the algorithms by hitting that like button right now. If you could do that for me, please, I'd appreciate it. If you're watching on rumble.com/DoNotTalk or live right now on Facebook or on YouTube, on YouTube, you subscribe, doesn't cost you anything. And on Facebook, of course, you hit that like button. Same with Rumble. Thank you. Go ahead and do that now, please. Click. See, that wasn't so tough. I've got Christy Grab on the show today and Sam Anthony also on the show at the same time. We're going to be disclosing, I'm going to sit back and let Christy tell you what she's been finding and the results of it. And how we're especially focusing on the state of California because that's where I am and that's where she is as well. And Sam's out there on the other on the actual part of the United States of America on the East Coast, and we're going to discuss what's happening with California politicians who are absolutely not just breaking the law, but scoffing at anybody who dare says, "Hey, you can't do that." Let me play this for you. This is a judge who's been fired, who was part of the whole January 6th debacle and ridiculousness. This judge is testifying about just how awful it is that she and several others got fired for prosecuting the J6ers, as they're called.
After 3 weeks of training and getting prepared for the next week, that Friday I left work. I walked to the metro station. I got on the train and I pulled out my phone and I saw a litigation hold that had been put on it. And attached to that was a memo that gave Mr. Martin permission to fire probationary employees
Ed Martin.
from the Capital C section that were moved to other places in the office.
Love that guy.
The memo referenced people, but didn't have a list of names attached. But the information provided was confusing. I knew I was probably on the list, but I didn't know exactly what was going on. I headed back to the office so I could figure out what was happening. I was met by my colleagues who shared their confusion and a heartbreak over
No due process for attorneys.
We left the office, and 2 hours later, the letters started rolling in, terminating us. At the end of the night, 15 assistant U.S. attorneys had been fired. The termination letter I received stated the decision was based on your actions in the prosecution of persons relating to the events that occurred at or near the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. An executive order issued on January 20th, 2025, the president characterized that work as having involved a grave national injustice that has perpetrated upon the American people over the last 4 years.
Well, how about that? That's just terrible. I'd love to say that I feel badly about it, but that is what I voted for. That is just another fine example of what I voted for. Hello, Christy Grab. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm borderline amazing. It's great to see your smiling face again. Last time I saw you, you were doing a live-aboard on a sailboat.
Man, powerboat, but yes.
Yeah, awesome.
We were gone for 6 months. We've only been home for a week.
Yeah, well, good. Well, how long is it going to take before you and your husband absolutely go crazy and want to get back out on board?
Probably not too long.
Yeah, that's what I figured. What a life, man. And speaking of living the life, Sam Anthony from his palatial mansion in Florida over there by Mar-a-Lago, hanging out with the hobnobbing with the biggies. Hello, buddy.
How you doing? Wow, that sounds really nice. I gotta call Trump.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I wanted to get you involved, Sam, because I want you to hear what Christy's already been on the show once, and she unveiled and revealed some things that were just stunning. I spent half the show doing this. What? Uh, Now there's some new results from all of this. Christy, if you could catch us up for anyone who missed the first show on what it is that we were talking about with the dereliction of duty of taking the oath of office.
Okay, I'll give a quick review. Not taking an oath of office when you're a government employee is a felony punishable with up to 3 years in prison. It is required by both the state and federal constitutions. But there's a lot of government employees who choose not to take oaths. And the reason why they make that choice is because treason of oath is a much more serious penalty, up to and including death. So they make a weighted choice that I know I'm going to be committing treason of oath. So do I want to risk death, or do I want to not sign that oath and only go to jail for 3 years? So the last time we had talked, I told you that I had ordered oaths from the Secretary of State for the new legislative cycle that started in December of 2024. And on this show, I said the oaths had arrived by snail mail in San Diego, but I was out of the country on the boat, so I didn't have access to it. So I didn't know what the results were. So here's the results. Okay. I ordered 99 oaths. The Secretary of State had 24 of them on file. The 24 were all elected officials. And then in the cover letter, there was a note that said the following people are confirmed to not have an oath on file for this session. And that is State Senator Angelique Ashby. Actually, these are all state senators. So Angelique Ashby, Catherine Blakespear, Brian Jones, Mike McGuire, Thomas Umberg, Anna Caballero, Maria Elena Durazo, Shannon Grove, Caroline Menjivar, Steve Padilla, Susan Rubio, and Aisha Wahab. In addition to that, the Lieutenant Governor, Eleni Kounalakis, also does not have an oath on file.
The Lieutenant Governor.
The Lieutenant Governor, yeah. And she was elected in 2022. And so she's been working, re-elected in 2022. So she's been, working 3 years now unlawfully without an oath.
This is insane.
And then there was 2 that weren't addressed. So I have sent a follow-up email to the Secretary of State, and I'm waiting to hear back from these 2. One of them is Joaquin Arambula, who has a serious problem with filing oaths. He misses
Arambula? Yeah. He's dirty, always been dirty.
Yeah, he misses much more oaths than he actually files. So it's unlikely he has one. And the other one is Corey Jackson. So I didn't get an oath, but neither one of them were on the list of people that don't have oaths. So like I said, I'm waiting for clarification. And not one of the deep state employees. I requested 37 elected officials and 62 deep state employees, and not one deep state employee has an oath, current oath.
And it's all about prosecution of crimes against California and the United States of America, isn't it? Three quarters of just our elected senators in California have.
Well, the deep state employees aren't elected; they're appointed. But
I'm saying, but you were talking about the senators. It sounds like at least 3/4 of them are refusing to take the oath.
So out of the 37 elected officials that I checked, only 24 of them had oaths. So yeah, those are bad numbers.
Oh, I thought you said 99.
Oh, so I checked 99 people in total, and that's 37 were elected, 62 were deep state.
This is crazy. And what's the law about that? California?
So my next plan of attack, sorry, I'm trying to adjust my camera. My next plan of attack is it is illegal to pay people who don't have an oath. Per government code section 1367, it says no compensation nor reimbursement for expenses incurred shall be paid to any officer by any public agency unless he has taken and subscribed the oath or affirmation as required by this chapter. So I'm actually drafting a letter to Malia Cohen asking her to immediately halt all payments to the people that don't have O's, that's confirmed they don't have O's, and asking her to claw back the money that she's already paid them
I
for
was
the
just
time.
gonna say, I want that money back.
Yeah, because I
If we're
mean, like,
talking
they weren't ever
years, I
supposed to
want
be
that money
paid.
back.
So, so I don't expect her to respond because she's a criminal too. I mean, she oversees the franchise tax board criminal schemes, and allows it to go on, perpetrates it. So, and she, oh, so at the franchise tax board, like 66% of the executives don't have O's, and Malia Cohen didn't make them sign O's either. So all the regular employees have O's. All the regular employees' O's are in order, but the executives don't have them. So, yeah. And yeah, so she didn't do anything about that when I brought that to her attention as the chairperson of the franchise tax board, that these people were working without O's. So I
Sam,
don't
have you
expect
heard
her.
about anything like that in Florida going on?
I have not, but I find this very intriguing simply because now I want to know, is there a discrepancy between Democrat, Republican? Is it both? I mean,
It's
Good
both.
question. It's
okay.
both.
And so when people are like, oh, the Republicans will come save us, I'm like, they're not signing O's either. They're not coming to save you.
So they're actually really smart.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
at the end of
calculated.
the day, I mean, if you're going to be committing crimes that you could be accountable for, why would you ever sign something? The question is, how do you get into office without taking an oath?
So generally speaking, so there's two kinds of O's. So
Mhm.
permanent employees who cannot be fired when an administration changes sign what's called an oath of affirmation, and they only have to sign that oath one time in it, and it goes in their personnel file. So those people, when they come in their job, they sign the oath as is required, and then once they get a promotion up the food chain where they're in a position where they're actually calling the shots and could get in trouble, then they destroy that oath. So that's for the oaths of allegiance. The oaths of office have those are for elected officials and people who are appointed by elected officials, and those oaths expire at the end of the elected person's term. So the elected person's term, or if you're appointed, it still expires at the end of the term of the person who appointed you. And so what they do is they sign an oath the first time, and then they don't sign any oaths again after that. So once the first one expires, they just don't re-sign. And it's not negligent, because I've pointed out to them, oh, hey, your oath is expired, sign another one, and they won't do it. They absolutely will not do it. So it's intentional, it's deliberate.
Who enforces it? Whose responsibility is it to make sure that they're following through with this?
So prosecuting oath violations is the sole purview of the Attorney General. So our Attorney General is named Rob Bonta. Rob Bonta is very dirty. He's a bad guy. And
Yeah.
so he's
So is his
not
wife.
choosing to prosecute these oath violations.
Did he?
That's why I'm going to Malia Cohen. We'll see if Malia Cohen stops paying them.
Does he have an oath? Does he have an oath?
He does, yeah.
So his oath is to the people who don't have oaths?
Yeah.
I take an oath to not prosecute anyone that doesn't take an oath. Is that
Yeah.
how it works?
So these Pharisees and lawyers, as Jesus called them, who are calling the shots, and I blame my own fellow Californians for putting these idiots in positions of tremendous power.
It's election
And
rigging.
it
It's
is.
election rigging.
There's so much
So
corruption
San
in California, I
Diego
feel like.
is very deeply purple, and we went all blue. And I'm sorry, but we are very deeply purple. There's no way we went all blue, especially because all they do on Nextdoor is rant about how terrible the Democrats are. Like, mm-mm.
Okay. Well, there's 2 things that, that these Pharisees and lawyers, respond to, and, that will, force a course correction. One is media attention, which you're not getting other than this, and the other one is legal action, but that takes money and
Well, it
resources.
takes money, but the other thing is that the statutory law system is rigged. I mean, you saw this with J6. I mean, and so the statutory law system is really totally hijacked. And there's organizations that are working on bringing back constitutional law, which is real law, the law of the land. And they're making inroads on that. So I believe that. So I sued the Franchise Tax Board in statutory court. And it was really good for me because it forced them to propound documents to prove that they were running embezzlement and racketeering schemes. So I got hard proof through the court case that I would have never gotten through any other channel. But the court case in and of itself was rigged and didn't bring resolution. But now at least I have the hard proof to go after them in other venues. So I'm very hopeful that they do reinstate constitutional law so I can go after them in a constitutional law court. But meanwhile, right now, our best strategy is public humiliation. It's just media attention and just publicly shaming them for these gross violations.
You're not gonna get that in California. That's why I wanted Sam to hear all this. I wanted
Yes.
to get him
Oh
involved.
God, I'm frothing at the mouth here,
I
Christy.
know.
Uh,
I know.
so
This is
I agree
beyond
with
me.
you. I mean, in order to get things done the way you need them to get done, you need media attention. The media has been complacent in everything. Okay, they're the reason we're in the mess we're in today.
I
It's
agree.
because they're in bed with these politicians. For what reason, I have no idea. I did see the study that was done like a year ago that 97 or 8% of people that work for the legacy media, which would be all the newspapers, radio, and TV station, vote Democrat, which means that you're talking about 3%, and those 3% are not the editors in chief. They're not the people that own the media. They're the people they're the outskirts that work that can't even get their stuff published if it's factual. So
Right.
this is where products like mine come in, because our product is all about citizen journalism. It's so in your case, you get this stuff that is absolutely damning. This is stuff that the public needs to know about. You bring it to the media, and what do? Your words. Tell me. What do
Nothing. I have gotten nothing. It's crickets. They ignore me.
Okay, so I don't want to swear right now, but because I just feel like it. However, what you need to do, and this is where our product puts the power of the press in your hands, you become your own news reporter and you start putting out this content. And now it's coming from a place like I had 5.4 million people on my site last year. I'm adding new content creators daily, right? But when it comes from a news website, and then what you do is you take the article after it's done and you send it to all the people in the department and you send it to all the news outlets. Now, for the news outlets, add FU in there. You should have covered this yourself, but you're complacent. Okay. And then send it out on social media, get this thing distributed. It'll start going viral.
Yes.
And so all of a sudden you keep hammering them with this stuff and hammering them. And eventually they're going to go, all right, what do we need to do to make this woman go away? So they're either going to kill you, okay, which I would highly doubt.
You know, people have told me I should shut my mouth because, I'm setting myself up as a target, including the judge on my case. He threatened me and kind of insinuated bad stuff would happen if I tried to appeal.
So write that article and send it right to the judge. Okay, seriously, because nothing's going to happen. I'm probably listen. Years ago, they used to do that stuff. They don't do that stuff anymore. We have a bunch of pansies. They might as well wear tampons. because they're not going to do it. I promise you that. I'm
Well,
done.
but they do retaliate. So
Lawfare.
yeah, no,
Lawfare.
Rob Bonta posted me and my husband's social security number on the internet. So when I got the court records that showed FTB's accounting fraud, that's the
Mhm.
Franchise Tax Board. That's California's income tax agency. I probably should have clarified that. When I got the proof of the accounting fraud, I sent it to the FBI, and Rob Bonta responded by posting my husband's social security numbers on the internet. So they do find ways to retaliate, even if it's not physical harm. Like, yeah. So
That's
How
not
are,
going to get anybody anything.
how are
So
there not
wait,
consequences for that? How did he get away with that? Does he just say, "Oh, it was an accident. We
you
didn't
have
mean
proof
to"?
of that?
it was, oh yeah.
Okay.
The Attorney General's office said it was inadvertent. So what happened was the Franchise Tax Board accidentally gave them our social security numbers, and then they accidentally posted them in the legal filings. And they took them down and redacted them later, but it took them like a month to do that. So our social security numbers were out there for a month. And the Franchise Tax Board has an established history of exposing social security numbers in retaliation. They actually had to pay a guy named his last name was Gilbert. They exposed his social security number, and they harassed him in a bunch of other ways as well. And he had a multi-million-dollar verdict, but then on appeal, it was reduced to like 50,000 or something. But yeah, I mean, like, they've actually been convicted of doing that, and you would think they learned their lesson after getting that.
There's no consequences.
No, they did it to me.
Yeah, there's no consequences. They don't care.
I'm telling
The
you,
arrogance is stunning.
there's no politician that wants their name in print, especially when you have bad things coming at them. So if they keep getting these bad articles written, like when they do stuff like that, if you write another article about what they just did, and you have all the proof to confirm it, it just makes them look worse and worse and worse. So what I'm saying is that they're adding to the pile of their own demise. Eventually, this stuff's going to come to an end, but you now have the ability to be able to get this stuff out. I'm telling you, Christy, this is.
I'm excited. I'm super excited about it. Like, the articles are already written on my website. I'm just going to copy and paste them to yours.
That's all you got to do. Start pushing them out. But the key is send them to the politicians. Share them then on social media. Of course, in these cases, they're a little bit older, so people may have seen them already. But send them out to new people. That's the whole key, is getting that information out, and it just makes them look bad because now you're writing it as an actual news reporter. We call them citizen journalists, just like I guess Musk does, but I was doing this long before him. But now it's an actual news platform. So remember, I do local news in every market in the United States. I do local news in San Diego. Okay, so you now could be added to the pile there in terms of government corruption, because you're perfect for that position simply because you're in the middle of it right now. I love it. Yes.
Christy, I thank God for your passion. I thank God for your dedication, because if not you, who? Nobody else has been stepping up. Nobody else even seems to know about this, but you don't quit, and that makes you one of my heroes. But
No,
you can't keep doing it by yourself. Do you have it? I mean, what? You got to have it. It kind of takes a village to take down that village. Do you have any help? Do you have anybody getting behind you? And
No,
other than this?
I just work on it as I have time to work on it. It's kind of something that, like, I mean, I'm trying really hard to enjoy my life, but I do, because I can get kind of obsessive about this subject and spend too much time on it. So, like, we went boating and stuff, but I'm trying to have balance. But yeah, I just kind of work on it as I have time to work on it by myself. Kind of, I'm a turtle. I'm slow and steady. Like, I always keep going. I just go kind of slow.
That's funny. And yes, she has Charlie and Sam behind her.
Yeah.
See that?
It is now.
It could be a sham, right? Charlie and Sam. So is there any other people that you work with that are exposing other stuff? Like, you can't be the only one in California that's found crimes.
So I am part of a networking group. So I've met people who are exposing things in other venues. And so we compare notes on what works and what doesn't work, and what we've tried. So yeah, I mean, I have met other people. I am friendly and familiar with other people. What was good about my Wiener campaign? So Scott Wiener's evil incarnate. He's
Absolutely, and for Sam and anyone else who does not know, he's the senator from San Francisco. Scott Wiener is during the COVID shutdown. They waived their own 30-day print rule, which is a good trick. You make a rule just so it should be law. It should become law to where they have to do that. But when you make your own rule, you can waive it anytime you want. And it was during the whole Emergency Powers Act that Governor Hairdo enacted for over 2 years. It was insane, longer than any other state. And it was all because they were pushing through all these things. It was supposed to be to protect we, the citizens, from this horrible, horrible, terrible flu from China. And but it turned into we're going to pass all this legislation taking away parents' rights to actually have a say over what's happening in the education of their own children. That's what that became. 2-3 years of that, passing things and Governor Hairdo signing them into law. And there are things that have been enacted and put into place and power that we, the people of California, don't even know about, because not enough of us are getting involved. I think we're so just overwhelmed that
there's too many fronts, right?
we're like, what do we do now? And that's part of the plan, isn't it? That's a whole Communist Manifesto way of doing things, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but anyway, so Scott Wiener was one of the regulators of the Franchise Tax Board. That's why I went after him. But since lots and lots of people hate Scott Wiener, that really put me in close alliance with people who are fighting for children's parental rights and to protect children, and people who are fighting to protect single family residential housing, which Scott Wiener's aggressively trying to get rid of. So actually, my Scott Wiener campaign, really, I met a lot of people through that.
Wow. So basically, any law or anything they're doing in California, no matter where, what county, what district, is all crimes. There's nothing that's really legal there. Everything they do is just criminal. So
I think so. I mean, I haven't scrutinized every single law out there, but there's enough bad laws that get attention that it's looking bleak. It looks like they have an agenda, and they're intentionally trying to harm the average person, make the average person easily exploited.
could you imagine, CharLee, having 5,000 Christies on my platform in California?
That'd be awesome.
What kind of devastation it would do to the government there? Just finding people like you who are already into it, that are doing the job of the media. Okay, because that's what you're actually doing. You're doing the job they're supposed to do to uncover this stuff, and they have no interest in finding it. None.
No.
Zero.
No. The legacy media, I mean, the Congress passed that propaganda bill. Like, the legacy media is paid to keep their mouth shut. So they get money from Congress to not say anything. Although I think that bill has expired now. And I don't know that they re-upped it, but when Obama left, like they passed a propaganda funding bill. So, it's a legit thing. So, talking about exploiting people, let's move on to the signing up illegals for welfare benefits.
Yes.
So,
and health benefits.
So, because I am fighting the Franchise Tax Board, I watch everything they do like a hawk. So, the Franchise Tax Board in 2018 began a program called it's called an education initiative, where they want to educate low-income people that they qualify for benefits, including tax credits. And
this is the state of California that has the lowest test scores in the nation now at this point, in just about every aspect of education publicly. They're going to educate the uneducated. Is that right?
That they could give them money. That's what the education is.
That's what they call it. That's not what it is. So what they're doing, so part of these bills is they give them deceptive titles.
Oh, they're
Very
big on that.
deceptive titles. So
Oh, yeah.
what they're doing, the Franchise Tax Board is it's was paying NGOs $20 million a year to hunt down illegal aliens and get them to register for ITIN numbers, and these NGOs would sign them up for benefits and get them to file tax returns to claim their tax credits. Now, last year they reduced that from 20 million to 10.5 million. And so that extra 9.5 million reverted back to FTB's general fund. So we have to, I'm still trying to figure out where that $9.5 million really went to, since it's not going to the NGOs anymore. But I had sent CharLee a video of a woman making a speech at the board meeting saying, last year, even with the lesser funding, we signed up 25% more illegals for ITIN numbers. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. She used much more flowery words. And if you guys restore our funding to what it was, we can sign up that many more. I mean, she was very cute and enthusiastic, but essentially saying, look, we did such a good job of hunting down illegals for you. Won't you give us more money so we can do even more hunting down of illegals? So,
Unbelievable.
yeah. And so, I made
Did they ever
a
think
little,
of bringing on ICE and giving them the money to hunt down the illegals?
I know. Hello, ICE. We got a list for you.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good way for them to make additional money. They could bribe the California government. So ICE wants this list. They told us they'd give us another 10 million. We could not send it for 20 million, and we could get you that many more.
Oh, that's funny.
I know.
That's
Sorry,
the
go ahead. We're
Franchise
making
Tax
notes
Board.
about this.
California State Franchise Tax Board is, as you can imagine, probably at the head of the list of dirty agencies that need to go. But they're so protected, and if you're like, well, we got President Trump in place now, he can fix it all. No, these are state issues. These are state things that are happening, and the president is very limited in his powers and that kind of thing. When it comes to, you can't come in and doge California if California is going to do everything they can to not doge themselves.
They're not.
so on the oath situation, it is required by the federal and state constitutions to have an oath. So it is under Trump's purview. It's actually the purview of the military because they're considered foreign agents posing as government agents. So Trump can do something about it. So I did contact the Trump administration about the missing O's, and I am hoping and praying that they go in and get rid of the people without O's. And then, obviously we have to deal with the other issues ourselves, but if we can get a little federal help, that would be amazing. But I'm not counting on it.
That's a long shot, but it sounds really good. And could you imagine them walking in and taking everybody out for treason? Right? That would be cool.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Oh, so I think, Christy, just the fact that you're bringing all this stuff up and you have it, and you're exposing it. But I do have one question. Trump has. I saw Pritzker bitching and moaning because Trump has withheld his his state funding. I'm assuming they're doing that to all the states like California and Illinois and New York. Are you guys still getting federal help, or has that been halted?
He's threatened, but if it's actually been halted, I haven't heard that. I've just heard threats. And the state set up a $50 million fund to fight Trump. So while LA was burning down, instead of dealing with the LA fires, they were voting themselves $50 million to fight Trump. They decided that was a more important thing than the LA fires.
That's right. Yes, they
My
did.
God.
They did actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
And let's get back to what you've uncovered with the Franchise Tax Board. There's more, isn't there?
Yeah. So the last thing that I want to talk about was customer service failures. So back in 2016 is when I first made the allegations that FTB was running legit bona fide criminal schemes and using gross negligence as a cover. And in March of 2023, they actually admitted to that at one of their board meetings. And they admitted that they were falsely imposing penalties as a result of customer service failures. And so they gave themselves a $25 million budget increase in order to fix their customer service problems. But they didn't actually intend to completely fix the problems. So at that point in time, they were only answering 40% of phone calls that came in. The other 60%, just people were held for so long that they would like give up and hang up. Or what happened to me constantly was I would call in, wait on hold for an hour, get hung up on when it transferred to a person, and then I'd call back and same thing, wait an hour, get hung up on. And so anyway, so they were only answering 40% of calls. And they and so their goal was to and it was taking them 4 to 5 months to process mail. So they send you a notice, and depending on what kind of notice it is, you have between 15 and 60 days to respond. And so it would take them 4 to 5 months to process that correspondence. So you would respond timely, but they would claim that they never got the response because even though they had it, they didn't actually process it. So Franchise Tax Board allegedly lost 16 of our payments. And I sent canceled checks 33 times, and they swore up and down that they never got any of those canceled checks.
How many times?
33. Because they weren't processing it, right? So what they did in the court records when they propounded them, every one of the notices that we sent in was basically like correspondence. They were all misfiled. So what I think they do is, they open them so late that they don't want to get caught that they violated somebody's rights. So they misfile it. So again, they mask it as gross negligence, right? So anyway, their goal was to reduce hold time. Like I said, it was an hour, and they were only answering 40% of calls, and it was a 4 to 5 month processing of mail. So their goal was to answer 75% of calls, and their goal was to process it within 30 days. But 30 days is still, if your notice is 30 days, you have 30 days to respond.
You're late.
The only way that it would be processed was if you sent in your response literally the same day they put it in the mail. So even 30 days is not going to end that scheme, right? So FTB at their last board meeting in June announced that they are currently answering 47% of calls. So they're answering 7% more than they were 2 years ago. And it's now a 3-hour wait.
That's what 25 million got us?
Yeah, it's now a 3-hour wait. It's they're processing mail in 48 days now. So in the speech, I made a public comment, and I said, where the hell did our $25 million go? I mean, you're still falsely imposing penalties and wage garnishments and liens with these numbers. And so they did get back to me. So a few days ago, they got back to me. So per the disclosure department, they have hired 46 people. The $25 million was supposed to go to hire 53 people and give 202 raises. So they've hired 46 people. They increased their staff at the general main line by 8%. They increased their staff that deals only with CPAs and nobody else. So no public people, just CPAs. They increased that staff by 34%. And their collections department, the people who most desperately need good customer service, they've increased by 1%. Their turn times. Oh, and so I only gave you the turn times for regular people. The turn times for businesses is 144 days. So businesses are, and they have a 3-hour wait time on the business line too. So businesses can't get their issues resolved. Like businesses are getting in a lot of trouble with the franchise with the state, and can't get resolution on it. So if you believe that California is deliberately trying to run businesses out of the state, you are correct based on franchise tax board's customer service numbers.
That's what it seems like to me.
So then
And
what
it's
do they
working.
do? So if there's no more businesses left now, where does everybody work?
It's the big conglomerates are coming in and wiping out all the small business. Like California is actively trying to run small business out. They really are. And that's another example of one of the approaches that they're doing. And so they're making it so that, certain preferred companies get sweetheart deals and everybody else is punished.
Punished for doing business. And that's because they know that the majority of independently owned businesses and even corporations that are, more, we'll take care of ourselves. We don't need the government to take care of us from cradle to grave. They've got to go. They
Mhm.
don't want those kind of people and that kind of mindset here. This is all working to that Star Trek utopia that they keep dreaming of. Governor Hairdo got all excited after the Palisades fire when he was dancing back and forth, talking about how this is going to be a new way. We're going to see a new kind of city. It's all going to come together. It's called a smart city, a 15-minute smart city. That's what they're working for. This is
Did
insane.
you see that they can't rebuild until they upgrade their sewage and put in retaining walls, and
All those people,
that's
thousands
going to
of
cost
structures destroyed. Do you know how many actual permits to rebuild have been granted at last time I checked?
0.04. So, but they're required. So it's going to cost $20 million to upgrade the septic and put in the retaining walls, and that's not covered by insurance. So yeah, I realize there's a lot of very wealthy people whose homes burn down that can't afford the 20 million, but the majority of those homes will never be able to be rebuilt.
No, no, not by accident. I don't think any of it was by accident. This is
Mm-mm.
crazy. President Trump, eh, oh my goodness gracious, has got so much on his plate and his staff, and there's only so much time and only so much legally what they can do, especially when you have rogue judges shooting down every single thing you're trying to accomplish to bring an end to their tyrannical rule.
And again,
What,
it's state sovereignty issues. Like we need to fix our state ourselves. We can't rely on the federal government to fix our
right,
state,
right.
because we're a sovereign state. So,
But we don't know. We the people just don't know that all these things are going on. We've heard talk about it. Oh yeah, tax boards are always dirty, and you're saying that so flippantly because that is horrible. Get serious about this. Where do we go? Where do we find a way to help and get involved with what you're doing, Christy?
my website is gwsandiego.net/blog. The slash blog is important because there's some kind of glitch with my website. I am very responsive to email. My email address is christy@gwsandiego.net. That's
Spell that.
CHRISTI
Got
at GW spelled out .net. And it is an I at the end of my name. So if you do Christy with an IE or Christy with a Y, it won't go through. It's CHRISTI.
right, right. Anything else that we didn't cover that you had on your mind, Christy, that you'd love Sam to know about?
There's a lot that I'd love to talk about, but I feel like this is a long enough episode and we can do this again another time and talk about more issues then.
Let's do it. Let's do
Before
it.
you go, so you have a state, Nevada, which is right next to you guys, right?
Mhm.
You guys have Texas. I mean, when Los Angeles burnt down, I mean, didn't a lot of people just move out of California?
Yeah, so actually, the state of Arizona filed a lawsuit against the Franchise Tax Board a few years ago because the Franchise Tax Board was unlawfully taxing Arizona residents. And they do that. Like the Franchise Tax Board believes that they have purview over everyone and can tax everyone.
It's
So
insane. I know Governor Hairdo literally publicly said they were going to do that. You leave California to escape what we're doing to you, we're going to tax you from wherever you go. I was like,
yeah,
how is that
they're
even
so
legal?
yeah, oh, it was Gilbert Hyatt. Sorry, it was Hyatt was his last name. Gilbert Hyatt. That Gilbert Hyatt case was in Nevada, where they were harassing him for money and exposed his social security numbers, went through his trash. I mean, they were following him around. Like they did all kinds of stuff to try to get money out of him. And he was a Nevada resident. So yeah, they're going after other states. But anyway, state that court case that Arizona filed was shot down. It was never heard. It was dismissed. So I don't know. I mean, the other states are getting mad about it too.
So they're going after residents who had to leave to escape California,
Right.
and
They're
they're
saying
still
that,
wanting income tax from them.
Yes.
yeah,
It'll
they're
attach your
saying that they're
wages.
not, they didn't really leave. They're only gone part-time. They're fake gone. Like, yeah. Yeah. So and then
Unbelievable.
also companies that don't do business in California, but have some kind of affiliation of any kind with California are being taxed as well. So, like, let's say you're a steel manufacturer and you hire a truck driver to drive your steel from your state to the port of Los Angeles to put it on a shipping container. They want to tax you because you drove your product through the state of California. That was another issue that was brought up at one of the meetings. I mean, the things that they go after companies for is ludicrous.
They've been stopping the drivers, not even allowing the drivers to unload or to
Well, why
load.
doesn't everybody just leave?
Well, I mean, I'm deeply rooted here. I can't just pick up and go. Plus, the weather's amazing. Like, I don't want to leave
I understand. Shit, I wouldn't stick around there for minutes. I'd be gone. I mean, I'm almost ready to get out of Florida, and I'm in one of the greatest states.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Before we go, I am going to be in Florida later this month, so I'd like to meet in person when I'm there. I'm going to be in. I'm going to Palm Beach Gardens.
Okay, so you're right by me.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let me know. I'll when we get off here, I'll give you my cell phone number, and you can just let me know when you're going to be here. Perfect. Absolutely.
Sam, how do we get a hold of you and how do we get involved with yournews.com? And
Listen,
can I even invest in it?
yes. Well, first of all, if you're like Christy, okay, and you're disgusted with how she's embedded in all this stuff, so she's doing the work of an actual journalist to uncover this stuff, to break it. But none of the media wants to cover the truth. They have no interest in you telling it. So the good news is all the legacy media is going out of business. Everybody knows it. It's not a secret that even they call themselves the legacy media. So once that's gone, what we do will replace the legacy media, but it's going to be a news organization that's by the people, for the people. People like Christy can become the news reporters. I mean, you already found out the truth. How do you let the public know? Well, before you used to tell the press, whose business was to go out and uncover this stuff and get it out. They have no interest in that anymore. And Christy, nobody can even come up with an argument for that because you know damn well it's true, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not interested. So our platform allows Christy to be able to put together the information straight from the horse's mouth and then deliver that information right to the public. This is where it's all headed. So anybody that wants to be a citizen journalist on our platform, you go to yournews.com, scroll down to the bottom of the page, click become a citizen journalist, fill out the application. You're a news reporter at that. But it doesn't have to be investigative stuff. You could be somebody who likes to write about restaurant reviews, or a theater critic, or a movie critic, or maybe you like to write about home and garden stuff. If you do video or audio, we can produce all that. So I was on your website. You had a video there too as well. So we could air all that stuff with embed codes, which, you know, I'll when you sign up, we'll give you instructions on how to use all this stuff. And then, you know, we do have, we're doing a capital raise for investing. There's an invest button down there for those of you who want to invest. you could read about what we're doing. If you like what we're doing, you can make an investment as little as $200 and everywhere in between. So
very good. Thank you so much, both of you. Thank you for helping expose this cockroaches. Have you ever seen a group of cockroaches in the middle of the night? You can hear them in the kitchen making all their noise, and then you come in and you turn on the light. What do?
run.
They scatter.
We're the light.
Mhm.
Yes.
We are the light. And you've got to be too. So get involved, please. Go to Christy's website, go to yournews.com. Here's an opportunity for you. And I'm just glad I was able to introduce hopefully more people to this. Thank you for your time, Sam Anthony.
You're welcome, Charlie. Thanks, bud.
And
You bet. And Christy, Grab, all the best to you. And I look forward to hearing more adventures when you get back out on your boat.
I will keep you posted. Thank you so much for having me back.
Absolutely. And this show, you can help me grow at charliesimons.com. There are several ways you can get involved financially. If you could help there too, that would be a tremendous blessing. But you can also write me through there. You can even book to be on the show. You want to be a guest on the show? You got something to say like Christy does there? Let me know. charliesimons.com. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America. But most importantly, America, bless God.